And like actions will always speak louder than words in that sense. So I'm always curious to get to know a person, but I feel like, a lot of that same grace is not given to Black women. I feel like, and I'm also queer too, which is, I'm not like visibly queer or anything, but when I meet people and they're like, I can tell how they perceive me based on how they act around me. So when I meet like a certain archetype of like white queer people and they try to sister girl me, I'm like, okay, like I have a reading on how you see me. I have a reading on how you see Black women, period. Like you want a cis girl, that kind of vibe. Like, hey, Hempsy, like slay. Like I'm like, okay. Like I get it. And so perceptions like that tell me quite a bit about like, are you going to perceive me as a person, or are you going to perceive me as my gender and my race first? And yeah, I do try not to navigate things in that way, but I do think at the same time that oftentimes stereotypes are just a part of our foundation. Like it's easy to categorize people that way and kind of move based on that. And I've been guilty of it a few times. I'm not going to say I'm uppity, I haven't. But, it's just important to kind of be mindful and try to see beyond. Yeah, because we're all so different.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that awareness is an important step too.
Mm-hmm.
And just not being blind to how you make people feel.
Yeah. A lot of empathy lacking, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people don't really know how to practice empathy in a real way.
Do you think social media has something to do with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like social media is marketed and has always been marketed as an entertainment app. It's a community app, and like Instagram was about keeping up with their friends and their lives, and same with Facebook was about, connecting with people.
Right.
But I mean, have you ever looked at like someone's video and been like, oh, that's a real person? Like genuinely? Like you watch like our current influencers, our current celebrities, and you're like, oh, like that's cool what they're doing, and like I want to live a life like that. Like, but I'm like, are they real? Like, do they have feelings? And I think that's kind of why, we see a lot of celebrities get bullied online. Like, stan culture is insane. Like, that parasocial relationship that people have to, real people, it's kind of frightening. And I feel like that's not possible without social media. We don't look at people the same way that we do our, like, in real life friends. Like, I don't know if I could, and I obviously do now because I'm older and I've, seen things. But I'm like, when I was younger and I used to really, really love, like, let's say, Jennifer Lawrence. I don't know why she came to mind first. But I'm like, if Jennifer Lawrence makes a mistake, and I look at her, posting online, and I'm like, can I give her the same grace that I would extend to you? And I know you in real life.
Interesting.
Like, would I look at her and be like, oh, like, damn, maybe she had a reason for making that mistake. Like, maybe I should see where she comes from. Or would I be like, she's a pillar in the community and she's an actress and like, she's got a huge platform. Like, she's got to be more mindful. Like, why am I holding my friends to a higher standard than another real person who's also, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Social media is like so weird in that way.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's also interesting being Gen Z, because you're Gen Z, right? And I'm like the last of the millennial, 96.
Damn, Rona.
Okay, right,
period.
But it's dope because it's like I feel like I'm a part of both generations.
Mm-hmm.
I can connect with the millennials, but also I can connect with Gen Z. But I think there's a honestly a big worry from the older generation, not even older, just millennials and older. There's a big worry that Gen Z and before they lack soft skills, they lack people skills because it's a generation that grew up with social media.
I think they're right. I think if you look at any of the dating apps and look at the way that men talk to women, like the soft skills are gone. Like the allure and the magic of flirting and like easing someone into something is gone. Like a straight like social media brain is porn rot. Like I do think, especially people younger than us, I do fear for them, because they don't have third spaces anymore. Like third spaces. I mean, like physical. Like we used to link up in malls, and I'm still like I'm a 2000s baby, like literally 2000. So I am like on the cusp of like when things were kind of being phased out. But like, kids aren't going to malls anymore to like hang out.
Yeah.
They aren't like just going to the park just to hang out. Like it's to make content. It's like the goals are just different. So we're not connecting in the same way anymore.
So on that note, what has living abroad taught you about yourself that you wouldn't have learned if you stayed in your home country?
I think it first primarily taught me to be resourceful for when I'm like low on funds and I'm like, well, where am I going to eat? what am I going to do and like how am I going to get somewhere. Specifically living in France, like obviously this is so unique in the sense that everything is walkable. So like if I can't afford a Metro card, I'm like, you know what? Let me soak it up. It's a 30-minute walk. Like it's really not that serious.